Hey everybody, you are looking live on tape from an absolutely gorgeous day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm here to answer a really tough question. A question that family members have asked me, people on the social media. Is Disney worth it right now to come down and stay on vacation? I guess it depends who you ask and it depends who you are, but I'm going to give you my take. Thanks for joining me. Let's get to it. So the first part of this conversation or breakdown might be the most awkward, and that's the money. I don't know how much money you have. You don't know how much money I have. So to determine your comfort level, you need to look within, kind of figure that out. Like Disney, while they've taken a lot of amenities and perks away, one thing that I've never seen them do is either lower the price or, well, let me take that back. I've seen them run discounts on rooms, but the price of a one-day ticket right now to Disney is around $130 per ticket. I mean, obviously you bundle that up into ticket and lodging deals. You know, a family of four can get into the thousands pretty quickly. Depending on where you live, a lot of folks are flying. I mean, that's another cost. So, part one of the breakdown is, do you have that type of free capital, free money to really do it? Not to mention that dining plan is not an option right now. So all your food's coming out of pocket as well. Which, if you've ever dined at Disney or watched any of my reviews, I always give prices pretty expensive. So let's say in our hypothetical that, hey, I'm not going to say money's no object, but we're doing just fine, thank you. Is it still worth coming down to Disney during these times? Another big consideration for me is crowd levels. Gotta be honest with you. The days of right when Disney reopened and the COVID crowds were really light, they are far gone, folks. It's only going to get busier as we get closer to the holidays. So if you're looking to kind of sneak in with really light to little crowds, I'm sorry that time has come. Well, you might get a better idea after the first of the year what the crowd levels are going to look like, but I can assure you, being in the parks multiple times a week, they're busy, man. Another important thing to consider is what special Disney events or Disney items are important to you. You know, for example, if you're really into parades, now may not be your time. They do have cavalcades, which are like mini parades or bursts of characters. And they also have a way that they do have a Christmas parade. That's going to cost you. Closer we get to New Year's, those tickets are going for about $250 a piece. So keep that in the back of your mind. As far as fireworks go, Magic Kingdom and Epcot have those nightly, but Hollywood Studios really doesn't. They have a nighttime show that to me it's kind of lackluster after seeing the old Star Wars show. And Animal Kingdom has a kite show, which if you look over my shoulder here, you'll kind of see the lagoon where that's done a couple times a day, if I'm not mistaken. So all things, again, important to consider. There has been a lot of cuts as far as live shows go. So do yourself a favor, poke around online. If there's a show that you can't miss, like Indiana Jones, make sure that's running. And if you have a specific question, hit me up on our email, disneyuncensored.com@gmail. So another point to consider for sure. Another important consideration is Disney transportation. If you've relied on that primarily in the past, be ready for some delays. Just like everywhere else in the world, Disney's having trouble getting folks to work. So, I mean, if getting from point A to point B, usually takes, you remember it usually took, 30 minutes, maybe give yourself an hour. Give yourself a little bit of buffer, especially if you're heading to a reservation or something that is time sensitive. Also, you will be able to use the Magic Express till the end of the year, but then that's going to be an extra expense after the 1st when the Magical Express stops running from Orlando International to the resort. So keep that in mind as well. Again, it's an instance where something that was included in the past is now an extra charge. I've seen estimates from anywhere to $50 to $80. It's all anecdotal. It's all just from what I've heard or saw. I will tell you that the airport in Orlando is a pretty good distance, probably maybe 15 to 20 miles from the resort. But keep it in mind, especially if you have, a lot of little ones and a lot of luggage, because you're definitely going to need at the very least an Uber XL if you go that route. I know Mears is going to be coming up with an alternative, but it's really yet to be seen, and I've seen no pricing on it as well.
Have a wonderful day.
What's your name?
I haven't decided on a name yet. Do you think it's a good name for a polar bear?
Hold on. Is she
Dining's also a bit different. Just again, reading online, we very, very seldom eat at a Disney park. We'll eat at resorts, far more frequently than we actually eat in the parks. But from everything I've read and just from what I've seen just playing around on the app, it is a lot more difficult to secure dining reservations, even when staying on property. So if you have that special go-to, that Ohana, that Be Our Guest, be prepared. You may not get it. It's funny when folks complain about not getting the opportunity to spend $80 a person at lunch. But it happens. Again, if it's your must-do restaurant, be prepared. Unfortunately, you may not get that reservation. Is it worth coming to see all the 50th overlays and extra special things they have? I would say yes and no. There's certain things like the castle's custom paint job and Spaceship Earth with its incredible lighting. I think that's a must-see. But other things, I'm slightly disappointed. The lack of merchandise, again, blame shipping, blame whatever you want to blame, but if they get any new merchandise for the 50th, a lot of times it's few and far between, and it's gone within a matter of a day or two. But seeing some of the special things they've done, especially if I had to say narrow it down to one thing, it would be the Spaceship Earth lighting. But just to tell you, I think they mentioned the Spaceship Earth 50. I think they mentioned the actual 50th anniversary, like just real briefly, in the little light show they do on the big ball, but which kind of makes me think they could have done this all along, which I'm sure they could have, but it's still quite a sight to behold. And then the castle, love it or hate it with the color change, really, really cool to see as well. But to me, I wouldn't come specifically to see the 50th details, but it does add a nice touch if you're already coming or you're already here. So to kind of sum up, as I'm leaving Animal Kingdom, as you see, it really is a personal decision. Now, in my heart of hearts, I mean, I will tell you, I have had my sister ask me because she wanted to come. She's actually turning 50 back in November, and she wanted to celebrate 50th on Disney's 50th. And I kind of told her to wait because she's one of those people, you know, living in Iowa. You have a huge expense for the flight, a huge expense for room and tickets. And while I won't go so far as to say that it's a watered down version of Disney, it is definitely on a Disney light. You know, there's not every single thing that we've, you know, honestly got spoiled with and gotten used to. Again, wait in your mind. What's, you know, and it's also kind of difficult for me to say. You know, if you're been cooped up with COVID restrictions and you're desperate for a vacation, obviously there's no better place to come than Disney. But just realize coming in, it's going to be different. It's not everything. I mean, not that any Disney trip has been perfect or without any issue. But, you know, bring your patience pants and make sure that you understand that things are taking a little bit longer. You know, remember that the cast members are under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. A lot of times you're shorthanded. You know, and yelling at them is not going to fix you anything, I promise. So, all in all, if you've got a really big Disney itch you want to scratch, by all means, expect to pay a little more, expect to get a little less. But you are at Disney World after all. I think that's going to do it for today. Hope I answered some of the questions you might have. And if I didn't, and you have a specific question, hit me up at DisneyUncensored.com@gmail. And I will get back with you. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe. And if you hated what you saw, I am so sorry, but still subscribe. That being said, keep the parks clean.